Thank you again for joining us for our Cleveland Root Zero event. We're going to be starting in just a minute. Once again, I want to thank the Alliance of Nurses for a Healthy Environment for hosting this event. We're now live streaming on their Facebook page. Again, I put the updated speaker order in the chat. We're going to lead off with Mayor Justin Bibb, City of Cleveland, as well as co-chair of the U.S. Climate Mayors. Peggy Berry, PhD, registered nurse and member of the Alliance of Nurses for Healthy Environment, and Chris Ronayne, Cuyahoga County Executive. They've all come together to speak and support a strong federal clean car standards for model years 2027 through 2032. These new safeguards will cut tailpipe pollution, protect public health, and drive investment in Ohio's growing electric vehicle industry. Each speaker will have 2 to 3 minutes of formal remarks from each of our speakers. At the end of the formal remarks, we will have a brief session for questions related to today's event. Now, very honored to introduce Cleveland Mayor Justin Bibb. Mayor, microphone is yours.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here this morning for this important, critical conversation as we work to move the needle when it comes to cleaner air and cleaner cities across the nation. Again, my name is Justin Bibb, mayor of the great city of Cleveland, Ohio. I also have the honor of serving as chair of U.S. Climate Mayors, a nonpartisan group of mayors across the country, all focused on advancing clean, green, and an equitable economy. And it's very clear, transitioning to more clean cars benefits cities everywhere from both an economic and public health perspective. Right here in Cleveland, we are in a non-attainment zone for ground level ozone, which is created from combustion vehicle emissions. And that leads to a couple things. Number one, high rates of asthma with children, elderly, and also it creates more of our residents being chronically ill in terms of their vulnerability to lack of good air quality in our city. From a visual standpoint, we know that the tailpipe level is at the same height as where our children breathe. And children making idling vehicles truly is going to impact their ability to breathe clean air. So from an economic benefit, it's so important that businesses in our city and in our region advance clean energy standards. We're working very closely to do that right here in Cleveland and across Northeast Ohio. We're working to expand our public EV charging stations across the city. We're also working with the private sector to incentivize the adoption of more clean EV cars across our city and across the region. So that is why we need to achieve the strongest possible vehicle pollution safeguards for all automobiles, pickup trucks, and delivery vans produced from 2027 through 2032. And we call on the EPA to enact the strongest possible clean car standards and urge them to finalize this rule this March. Thanks so much. And now I have the distinct pleasure to introduce Peggy Berry. Peggy.
Thank you, Mayor Bibb. What a great discussion here. And thank you all for asking me to speak on this very important issue. I'm a PhD prepared registered nurse and a member of the Alliance of Nurses for Healthy Environments, as well as a climate reality leader. My goal is to speak on health and prevention of illness and injury to my children, my community, and my children's health. There are individual things that we can do, but we must take action on that low-hanging fruit, and that is the transportation industry. This industry is the largest source of carbon pollution in the nation, and it is the second leading sector in Ohio. Route Zero sets us on an alternative path with these stronger clean car standards and investment in clean transportation, helping communities to fight climate change. Pollution from cars and buses, they dirty our air, threaten our health, and can lead to increased respiratory diseases like asthma. Electric cars produce zero tailpipe pollution and protect our health and our families' budgets. The transportation sector accounts for more than 55% of the nitrogen oxide pollution in the US. Car tailpipe pollution contains toxic and harmful compounds that pollute the air quality and harm public health. Cuyahoga County has high ozone and particulate pollution, which increases and potentiates breathing issues in children and adults with lung issues. With more clean cars on our roads, this provides an immediate benefit to air quality. And as research has found that a zero pollution vehicle adoption increased in a given zip code, local air pollution levels drop. Low-income communities and communities of color bear the brunt of air pollution and this climate crisis. And we need solutions for those communities that include electric mass transit. In Ohio, there are more than 153,000 children and almost 967,000 adults that suffer from asthma. In Cuyahoga County alone, there's 15,000 children and over 104,000 adults that suffer from asthma. In 2022, the American Lung Association published a report showing Ohio could experience public health benefits from widespread implementation of zero-emission transportation and electricity resources from 2020 to 2050. And that report stated Ohio could see upwards to $68.5 billion in health benefits with the elimination of 6,280 premature deaths, 137,000 asthma attacks eliminated, and 635,000 lost workdays. Even without a pandemic, living with air pollution has been linked to higher rates of lung disease, such as asthma and chronic obstructive lung disease. Studies have found that high levels of air pollution are also linked to larger numbers of people hospitalized with pneumonia. Without stronger clean car standards and bold investments in clean vehicles, we will continue to pollute our air and harm our health. The journey to Route Zero offers that cleaner air and healthier environment. As a climate reality leader, I am also going to speak a little bit about extreme weather. Worldwide, 2023 was the hottest year on record, and it exceeded the previous record in 2016 by a wide margin, and the future is likely to be hot. If the U.S. is likely to experience more extreme heat, increasingly powerful storms, and more destructive droughts and flooding. It is time to cut carbon pollution from our most polluting sector with more stringent clean car standards, moving rapidly down to Route Zero helps us reduce carbon pollution that fuels the climate crisis and lowers the extreme weather risk. So that call to action is we need to increase our speed to Route Zero. And that's why we are encouraging the EPA and the Biden administration to continue to improve the clean car standards to achieve the strongest possible vehicle pollution safeguards for all automobiles, pickup trucks, and delivery vans produced from 2027 to 2032. We call on the Environmental Protection Agency to enact the strongest possible clean car standards and urge them to finalize this rule in March. Thank you. And is Chris Ronayne here? Yay.
Scrambling to get over here right now. He's running late from a meeting. Oops, am I muted? Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you just fine. Thank you.
Okay. So Executive Ronayne is scrambling to get over here from a meeting. He'll be here in a couple minutes. I'm going to pinch hit for him for a second. My name is Mike Foley. I am the Sustainability Director for the county and have worked with our county administration and the city of Cleveland and the great people of the city of Cleveland, including Mayor Bibb, on trying to enhance and protect our air and increase our resistance and to climate change work. I just want to talk a little bit about where the county sees the need for these standards and enhanced standards. In Cuyahoga County, we recognize that the future of the automotive industry is electric vehicles. And we strongly support the pursuit of a robust EV infrastructure and network that exists for future residents. Recently, the Northeast Ohio Area Coordinating Agency announced funding that will support expanding the number of charging stations across the county, and that will lead to a more convenient way to experience EV ownership in our community and make it easier and more convenient for folks to be able to charge up when they need to charge up. Anxiety is one of the issues that folks have about adopting EVs, so having a robust charging infrastructure is really important. Enhancing safe vehicle standards directly impacts the health of our residents. By reducing vehicle emissions, we gain cleaner air, leading to fewer causes of pulmonary diseases and instances, as Mayor Bibb talked about and as Peggy Ann talked about. We know that it's time to address climate change. In Northeast Ohio, we are experiencing warmer, wetter, wilder weather. The 4 Ws is something that we know that we experience on an annual basis now. We are 1.8 degrees hotter on an annual basis over the last 10 years as compared to the last 100. We receive about 6.59 more inches of precipitation on an annual basis over the last 10 years as compared to the last 100. We are seeing 2 more violent storms on an annual basis if you compare to the last 10 years versus the last 100. So we're seeing warmer, wetter, wilder weather. Our Great Lakes are seeing this reduction in ice coverage. So 69% reduction in ice coverage if you compare what we're seeing over the last 10 years compared to the mid-1970s. So those are statistics we can't ignore. Warmer, wetter, wilder weather is things that we're experiencing in Cuyahoga County in Northeast Ohio. The data points to a need for change. Our vision for Cuyahoga County is to create a safe and convenient multimodal system accessible to everyone, whether a person walks, bikes, drives, takes the bus, or hops on a train. Recently, and Mayor Bibb, thanks for allowing us to steal our person from you, but we've added a senior advisor for transportation, ANHEs, to help us connect our communities to better transit opportunities. Cuyahoga County and the city of Cleveland work together to maximize state and federal resources to provide the best services to our residents. Cuyahoga County recently established the nation's first county-run utility called Cuyahoga Green Energy, which we're going to use as hopefully a vehicle to help enhance EV adoption and infrastructure over the course of the years to come. The county utility meets regularly with Cleveland Public Power now to help work through ways to help each other with infrastructure upgrades and renewable energy projects. Cuyahoga County continues to move the needle on climate action. We think this is really, really, really important. Some communities in the county, including Lakewood and Cleveland Heights, have created their own climate action plans now, and we're trying to help them adopt kind of the actions that they see are important for the work that they want to achieve. We are doing what we can on a local level to make change. We're working with the city of Cleveland all the time to do this. We are urging our leaders within the Biden administration, who we really support. I want to say that the Inflation Reduction Act was a great piece of legislation to help create resources for local governments to do some work. But we really want to see the EPA, we're really urging the EPA to enhance standards for environmentally friendly vehicles. So with that, I'll turn it back over to the organizers. And I'm lucky to say that my boss and county executive, Chris Ronayne, has just walked in the room, and he's going to take over and do a much better job than I am at this press conference. So thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. I do know that Mayor Bibb is on a tight schedule and is going to have to depart here. Mayor Bibb, I'm going to turn the microphone to you just to say a final word, because I know you have to head out.
Yes, I want to say thanks to the organizers for bringing us all together to advocate for this critical rule. I also want to just applaud the Biden-Harris administration and this president for his historic commitment to addressing climate change and advancing climate and environmental justice across the country. We are at an historical moment in our nation's history, and we have to meet the moment, and it's going to take local leaders at the county and city level to get the job done. So excited to be a part of this movement, and excited to continue the work we're doing all across Cleveland and Cuyahoga County. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thank you, Mayor. County Executive, we're going to pass the microphone to you.
Morning. It's absolutely passing the baton. It was good to see Mayor Bibb and Director Foley. I was with Mayor Bibb in Washington yesterday on some matters, and every cabinet secretary and or administrative director that we're visiting, climate is on the mind. So I do appreciate and double down on the mayor's point about Biden administration's work to help us roadmap this across the country. And I appreciate what you guys are doing, Dr. Berry and your partners.
Terrific. Thank you so much. We did promise the members of the media that we would have time for Q&A. So County Executive, if that works for you, we can move to
Sure.
Q&A unless you have additional comments you'd like to make.
We're good. I'm
time.
on the musical chairs here. I've got a few minutes, and this is a priority. So thank you.
Terrific. Wonderful. Everybody, thank you so much for your time and patience. We're now going to open the floor to question and answer. Members of the media, while your line is muted, and we can unmute your line, so you can use the raise your hand function to indicate if you have a question. You can also use the chat function to indicate you have a question, or you could put your question into the chat. I can work through the questions one at a time. We do ask that we keep our questions related to today's event topic. And then as you have your time to ask a question, please just state your name and the media outlet that you are with. So again, please feel free to use the raise your hand function, or you can use the chat function to indicate you have a question, or type your question into the chat box. Again, please feel free to use the raise your hand function, which is under the more icon, or you could use the chat box to indicate that you have a question. You could also put your question into the chat box, and I'm happy to read that out as well.
Have we covered it?
Okay, seeing no questions, I do want to note that we're happy to connect you with the mayor or the county executive or with Peggy after the event if you do have additional questions. I'm going to turn it back to the county executive. County executive, if you have any additional comments you'd like to make, that'd be wonderful.
I appreciate the convening of this this group, and I just want to say, Cuyahoga County, as Director Foley mentioned, we are all in on doing our part to address climate change. I don't want to be too redundant to what was already said, but it is good to be in partnership with the mayor of Cleveland. Also, our communities throughout Cuyahoga County and our mayors that have stood up, with their own climate action plans, as Director Foley referenced. This is, I believe, an effort that really, frankly, will really be best solved at metro and local levels. Having just come back from my second COP UN climate conference, they talk about subnationals. Well, we are the subnationals, the metros, the cities. It's really where, whether it's in the United States or in our sister nations, things are going to happen. I think innovation is going to happen at the metro level. It is happening at the metro level. We, of course, need federal standards to meet, the aspirations of addressing climate change. The aspiration at COP is certainly to aspire to keep our temperatures below that 1.8 degree threshold, and we're signed on to that. But at the metro level, from an innovation standpoint, it's going to be local application. One of the things that and I said this at COP, that I'm focused on is supply chain, whether it's EV charging, whether it's EVs generally, whether it's helping us flex out transit systems for electrification and other things, and just getting, literally, whether it's building materials or transportation equipment, it is really about addressing deeply the supply chain issues. I have two teenagers in my home they are focused coming back from their science classes in school on addressing climate. And I'm inspired every day that I hear that from them. I think our next generation, and it was good to see at COP, a really, really multi-generational audience, but leaning in on our younger people to help us with innovation to address climate, but also working with our federal government to address climate supply chain issues that we've got. And also that's the sweet spot of the public-private partnership, having our private sector help us with what we need to do to effectively address this challenge. From a Cuyahoga County's perspective, I do want to reiterate one point that Michael made, and that is that we are now at the forefront of a public utility that will create renewable alternatives in the portfolio. And I'm really excited about Cuyahoga Green Energy. Cuyahoga County historically, sadly, 55 years ago, was at the sort of poster child of why we needed reform when the Cuyahoga River burned for the 13th time. And our Mayor Carl Stokes, his legacy is certainly that he stood up with his brother, the congressman from Ohio, if Mayor Bibb didn't already say this, and they really were at the forefront of the Clean Water Act and the EPA itself. Well, we're now seeing that river return and will soon be delisted as an area of concern. So there's progress from a place that through industrial spoilage sort of was really burdened by environmental injustice, but a place that's turning around in the freshwater capital, as I call it, and moving toward a cleaner future. But it's got to be all in at metro and municipal levels, and the supply chain to help us get the products we need to clean up our act as it relates to transportation and building materials and other things, including obviously industry. It's within us. It's within us. And I'm inspired every day by people who are working on it with us to make change.
Thank you so much. Thanks to all of our speakers today. County Executive, appreciate you making time and all your leadership and public service. Peggy Ann,
thank you so much.
Peggy Ann, thank you so much for all the work you do as well and your advocacy in public health space. I do want to note that a recording of this event will be available on the Alliance of Nurses for a Healthy Environment Facebook page, and we'll be sharing that link in the press release immediately after this event. I do want to put Jake's email into the chat function. If you have any questions or requests for follow-up with any of our speakers, please let Jake know. We can arrange that. Once again, thank you so much to our speakers for all their support for clean car standards. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.